All right, welcome to Nerds of the Old Republic. I'm Adam.
I am Shaun.
And I'm Mike.
In each episode, we discuss a different book or film from the wide world of nerddom and pair it with a unique cocktail. Today, we are enjoying a pick from Shaun at a local brewery. You mind giving us the rundown on what we're drinking tonight?
Yeah, so we always try to pair our beverage in some way with the thing that we're reviewing or talking about. And, I guess I went to our local Wegmans, shout out Wegmans, and I was trying to find something related to the Matrix as I was on my way home from work and trying to do like 8 things at once. And I'm like, well, let's see. Look for the beers. We were talking about doing a beer because I think we recorded something earlier where we were drinking. We were drinking a little more heavily.
Something much more riddled with alcohol.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, well, we'll take it down a notch just a little bit. And I found a local brewery, 42 North, from East Aurora, New York.
Shout out to 42 North.
Yes, where most of the Bills live. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
And maybe not. I don't know what's going on.
We'll see by the
This is
time
gonna
you listen
drop.
to this cast. Yeah, what happened.
God, I hope so.
By the time this is released, we'll either be very happy or very angry.
Yes.
I will go back to our drink earlier in the night if I'm very sad.
Indeed. So I thought, Matrix, I'll find something that's like maybe a pilsner because of the red pill, blue pill. And I found 42 North has a pilsner, and it's called Illumination, which sounded very Morpheus-like in the way he talks to Neo. And
That's right. Rage Against the Machine, wake up.
Indeed.
That's right.
So,
Whenever I hear Morpheus talk, free your mind.
indeed.
I tend to think of the idea of Illumination. So, and I look forward to this. I've had a lot of 42 North beer in my life, especially their stout. I love Asylum. And I'm looking forward to, I've never had this one because I just tend to buy the heavier gravity stuff when I'm there.
Yeah, well, I saw it and I was like, well, the price says that it should taste good. So let's imbibe.
Right. All right, gentlemen,
All right.
open up and cheers.
Easier on the palate than our last beverage.
Agreed. Agreed.
I'm looking at their can right beneath Pilsner and the exact latitude and longitude where they exist. They have bright, crisp, I agree.
Yep.
Bright, sure.
Yeah.
Bohemian.
What the hell does that even fucking mean?
This is supposed to taste like patchouli
Yeah.
and like wall rags hanging from the wall.
The 5.9% ABV is nice.
Yeah, this is a drinkable beer that I could crush during the Bills game this Sunday. This is a Pilsner that you can tell, though, from, the clean finish and the taste. But actually the flavor is more than, like your Canadian Pilsners.
Oh, it's hopped up.
No offense, Blue Light, Coors, those rice Pilsners, really, no offense.
You mean just mass market beer?
Yeah.
Budweiser.
Well,
anybody in the
Coors.
Yeah, anybody in the InBev or whatever that conglomerate is.
Pilsner style that they make, yeah. This is definitely more of an IPA in a way.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of that flavor, the hoppy flavor in it, but it's definitely not an IPA.
No, I still taste the wheat in it, too.
Yeah.
Or what comes across as like a wheaty malt, so probably like a biscuit or a caramel malt through it.
No, it's good. It's a good beer.
Absolutely.
And we're supporting the local people, which is something I try to do.
That's right.
Especially through the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. Support your local breweries and purveyors of fine alcoholic beverages.
So as we drink our Illumination here, we're going to switch over to talking about The Matrix. Now, I know we specifically watched Resurrections for this cast. I watched all the movies 1.5 times. I watched some of them twice because I enjoyed them that much recently, like in the past week.
Dear Lord, man.
I may not have seen my family very much. Because I was like, shut up, Keanu Reeves is talking. He's got a gun.
He's talking.
Yeah, that I was going to say. He's...
Hey, don't skip to the lightning round yet. Thank you. That's in the lightning round.
All right, I did watch the first 2 recently, but I knew that the third one was definitely not worth my rewatch. So.
I did the same. Before I watched Resurrections, actually, I rewatched the entire trilogy. And, my review of the trilogy is the same as it was 20 years ago, which is to say the first one is genius, all-time classic. The second one is a very good action movie, and the third one is just absolute dog shit.
I watched the GIF of the guy standing in Zion shooting at the ceiling.
It's GIF, thank you.
Whatever. And I figured that gave me the same effect as watching the movie.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, where he's in the mech
Yes,
and he's
yes.
shooting at the sentinels as they come down?
Yes.
That's roughly 18% of the film, so...
It really is.
I got the effect. I know
It really
what's going
is.
on. Yeah.
So am I to take it that we all have some pretty strong personal backgrounds with this movie coming
Very
into
much.
it? Yeah, because I can say personally, like, this movie may have solidified my nerddom, or at least the franchise. The first one, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember watching and being like, whoa,
Nice.
the whole time. And thank you.
Good bell.
And in fact, it came out when I was in college, and then I owned it afterwards when I was living back with my parents. And I had like a 7.1 surround sound. So I would jack up the surround sound, close the door, lay down on my futon, and be like, surround me with sound and bullet time,
yes.
Wachowskis. Do this, please. And, I felt similarly about the second. Like, I was intrigued where the story was going to go. I was kind of let down by some of the characters in there, but I loved the special effects and some of the fighting in there.
Come on, let's be real.
Shaun is making faces at me.
Monica Bellucci.
Oh, for sure.
Good, very talented actress.
Yeah,
The only reason, really, to rewatch that movie.
sure.
No. The other reason to rewatch that movie is Morpheus sideswiping a car, a speeding car with a samurai sword, and then as it
Yes.
flips over in one motion, he turns and he shoots out the gas tank and it explodes.
Yes.
That's
That
the semi-truck
is-
trailer scene, right?
Yes, it is.
That series.
Which is an amazing sequence.
Earthshake.
But that particular shot is, in my opinion, you would be hard-pressed to find a better action moment than that. That is, to me, the ultimate action movie achievement.
Didn't they build a segment of freeway just to film?
They did.
That's insane.
They stripped the land, they poured the cement, they waited for it, and they got some cars to run down it.
Wow.
all GM cars, too, because they were
Yeah,
the
they were all
sponsor,
GM cars.
I'm not sure I knew any of that, but I guess that speaks to,
Did a lot of deep diving.
where the Wachowskis were at that time, in
They were on
the
top
wake
of
of
the
the Matrix and its influence in pop culture. They were able to just make a highway to film a movie. That's great.
Yeah. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. So, Shaun and Mike, what were your original experiences with the franchise?
I think like all of us of a certain age, I saw the original one in theaters. I believe it came out the year I graduated from high school. That's right. I'm old. And it was one of those transcendent moments where you knew this was something different. You knew this was something that had never been done. And it took a couple of views to really truly understand it and to just come to grips with how incredibly shifting it was for the whole film industry.
Right.
You look at it now and it's like, oh yeah, whatever, bullet time and all that. And, it kind of gets almost turned into a joke now. But at the time, it was a very profound thing that they had accomplished with this film. It was incredible. The style, just everything was just perfect for the times it came out. So of course I was hyped for the sequels, and I knew they'd be coming out within a calendar year. I was like, oh sure, fuck yeah!
Back when you could expect production to be on time and such.
Right,
First
and
world problems.
also one of those things that had not really been done is they filmed them back to back, knowing that they were going to make it a trilogy, and I was super hyped. I was ready for it, and I walked into the sequel like I walked into Phantom Menace, friggin' nerd boner on 11.
Yeah.
And walked out with
Knocking
confusion
down
and
people's
questions, but still, what, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
That's every high school nerd. Confusions and questions.
Exactly. And then the last one came, and I had absolutely zero recollection of seeing it.
Right.
Blind Neo gets crucified in a flame.
Yeah.
That's what you fucking see.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Matrix 3. I'm going to steal Sean's thing.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
But it's got to be more.
Yes.
It's got to be more booming than that, though, Adam.
Fuck you,
There
Matrix
you go.
3.
Very good.
You're going to have to fix the levels on that.
I will go back and
Yeah.
fix that in post. But
Yeah.
that's my general thing, and it's just one of those that has staying power. I've taken in services that were based on the Matrix.
Sure, the philosophy of the Matrix and religion.
The Buddhist side of it,
Yeah.
all of that, and it's just been it's fantastic.
So I was, I guess if you were a senior, I would have been a junior in high school because I'm not old. And,
Middle school.
and I feel like, in the years after college, I became someone who was very passionate about film and everything, but I was not at all in high school at all. Much as Shaun said, I remember seeing The Matrix, and even in my very naive way, knowing that I was seeing something different and seeing something special. I mean, this is how audiences must have felt when they saw like A New Hope or something like that. And that was something that the sequels lacked. Even as good as I thought the second one was, it lacked it too. The first movie, you were so busy trying to figure out what was going on and, the larger themes associated with that. Whereas, the second and the third movie were just a basic plot continuation, and you knew exactly what was going on and who the characters were. But I'll never forget, like, that first time seeing the movie, like, and having no preconceived notions of what it was other than it was an action movie. I was amazed watching it, and I was like, what is Morpheus describing when he talks about it's everywhere, but you can't see it or taste it? It's a prison for your mind. And then, like, when all of a sudden Neo's, like, in a different place and everything, you sortly... What was that last drink we were having?
Had a lot of absinthe in it. A lot of absinthe.
Oh,
you were sort of like gradually coming to understand that the world that you had been in wasn't the real world, and now you were in a different one, and you were coming to understand the whole thing about the machines. And
when he wakes up in the pod, it's disorienting for us too.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And it's so well executed. And if you don't know the plot of the movie going in, as I didn't at the time, that was so much of the fun. Was like that real, like, cerebral, like, mind puzzle kind of aspect of it. And then you also mentioned, like, the special effects were crazy at the time. The acting was so good. It's like it's one of those movies where, like, every actor was so perfect. Lawrence Fishburne for Morpheus. Hugo Weaving, he's always great, but that Mr. Anderson and Morpheus turning around with the thunderclap going, at last, like all that shit. It's become so iconic. And, I don't know. That first movie to me is, if you ask me for my top 10 list of movies of all time, Matrix 1 is in it. It absolutely is in it.
Oh, for sure. I'm in the same boat. It literally spawned branches of philosophy. It got me thinking about, like, the nature of reality and what is fate and free will. And then as I found out that the Wachowski, then brothers, now sisters, kind of wrote it as an allegory for them being trapped in bodies they weren't feeling associated with.
Right.
And then they transitioned to being the Wachowski sisters. Like, that just blew the lid off the whole fucking thing for a second time.
That was years later, too.
Yeah. I found that out, like, I don't know, those memes where it's like, I was this years old when I found out.
Right.
That might have been like 2 years ago, 3 years ago where I found that out.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, man.
Honestly, and like their genius of how they built a world that followed both the hero quest as well as religious mythology, despite me hating the third movie.
Yeah.
Like the fact that movie almost ends with Neo being burned at the cross with his eyes blind, like, literally, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
Wow, dude, you're really visceral here.
I am not happy with the third movie.
I'm indifferent.
I'm 4 drinks in. So I'm deep into this because I felt so strongly about the first two.
Well, I think that's what you got to look at. The first one is so groundbreakingly incredible that the others get unfairly maligned.
Set the
because,
bar too high?
Well, exactly. It's like every single sequel can't reset our notion of what a film is.
Right.
And that's where you look at that, like, had they ended it with the first one, it would be legendary.
Yeah.
We would never have this discussion. It would just be like, thank you very much. That movie fucking rules. It'll always be that way. But now because Warner Brothers dumped a dump truck full of money on the Wachowskis' table there and said, hey, make more.
Right.
Yeah.
Or whatever, for whatever reason, they felt compelled to go back to the drawing table and make 3 more of these movies now. It's just... it waters it down every time, and it gets further away from that moment of extreme lucidity. Like, this is like when your pupils dilate in 2 seconds. You're like, like your mind is blowing in real time. They'll never get back. It's like that poem I share with you. It's that all good music is sad because it makes the sound of the end before the end. Like, you'll never get back to that moment again. You will never experience the Matrix for the first time ever again in your life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Weezer's, what is it? That most recent song, like, all my songs are sad and slow. All my favorite songs are sad and slow.
Yep.
Which
Weezer
just has a similar
reference.
vibes. Yeah, I'm gonna bring in that Weezer.
Yeah,
But I'm sorry, Mike. I cut you
Ding
off.
for Weezer.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Dig
I'm
for Weezer.
woefully behind.
Like, you know, I mean, that's a whole separate topic. We don't have to go down. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole right now.
Oh,
If the
But,
white rabbit.
I was going to say, in the pantheon of 90s bands that you wouldn't have expected to have had such a long career, Weezer's got to be, you know, right at
Jesus.
the top of that.
I hate to say this, and please forgive me, Internet. I expected Rivers Cuomo, that's his name, right? The leader?
Rivers Cuomo, yeah.
leader.
I expected him to die by suicide
Ouch.
like a decade ago.
Damn, dude.
Just because, like, when you see him in interviews,
Yeah.
you're like, I just want to hug you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
I remember seeing at a Sun City. You remember
Whoa,
Sun
Sun
Yeah.
City, right up there with Circuit City.
That's right. My family was out buying a new VCR. And my dad was incredibly disgusted by the fact that he had spent like $500 on our last one and they were now down to like $200. He's like, how come they're so cheap? And I remember on all the TV screens, they had Rivers Cuomo doing the sweater song and like rolling around on the ground. Yes. And my dad looked at me and going like, the fuck is this shit? Is this what you kids listen to nowadays?
Yeah.
I'm like, And I'm like,
No, you answered with, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah. Say It Ain't So is a song that holds up. That is a great tune.
So many of my favorite bands have covered Say It Ain't So. None
such
of
a
them
good
are
one.
as good as the original.
No, it's
but
such
still.
a good song.
just like many filmmakers have tried to cover The Matrix.
Oh, well
Yes.
done. Who
Way
are
to
you
bring it
thinking
back.
of? Who are you thinking of?
Self-belling.
Good job. You can
Self-belling. And
do
the
that in
point,
your own bedroom.
the point that
That's
I
all
was
I
going to
got.
make that actually connected to yours originally was, you know, you talked about how it got watered. People don't have as high of an opinion as they ought to because of the way the sequels sort of muddied the waters.
No.
You know, and that reminds me, you know, the same concept of the Rocky franchise, where Rocky 1 is actually, you know, in my opinion, again, if I were making my top 10 list, Rocky 1 might be in it. You
Really?
know?
Multiple
It's
Oscar nominations.
really
and a win.
good. It's
Yeah.
brilliant.
That's
It's
fair.
genius.
That's fair.
But the other ones are just so increasingly corny and cheesy that
but
people
must
don't remember
break
that.
you.
Exactly.
but does it-
must break you.
Here's where you're wrong, Mike. Rocky starts off.
This
on
only
that.
happens like once a month.
Yeah,
so-
well, you know.
This is rare. Well, you know, it's almost the end of the month, so it's about
That's right.
time.
That's right. It hasn't happened in January yet. So.
I completely agree. Rocky 1 insanely good. It becomes parody as it goes on, but then somehow, through some way, by the time you get to the Creed movies,
Oh, that's different.
It's
is-
background to sincerity.
it like the whole thing, it starts to bookend and reinvent
Yeah.
itself, and like you really have to take it all as a complete.
Oh, but that's different though. The Creed, and I've only seen the first one, but that's Ryan Coogler directing. He's brilliant. That's Michael B. Jordan. He's brilliant.
No, I get
mean,
that,
that's-
but when you go from Clubber
They are
Lang
great.
through Ivan Drago to even
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn, you go through the whole
Tommy
pantheon
Gunn.
of villains. The whole series.
down. Why don't you try taking a shot at me now?
Yeah,
Isn't that how the movie ends?
Yeah,
And
but
they fight in the street. It's not even in the
yeah,
ring.
no, it's a
Don't
street
touch me or I'll
fight.
sue.
Yeah.
Don't bill me.
Totally.
Or whatever.
Are you going
Yeah.
so you gonna sue me for what?
Sue me for what?
Which is terrible. You know, the whole point of that character is that he worked his way out of the Philadelphia streets, and now he can't even be sued because he has nothing.
Yeah.
I still got the restaurant.
It's not a happy ending.
And Adrian dies. Anyway.
Yeah,
The
bring
whole
it back.
point, though, is that it's still it's integral to the the American experience, like the idea of our country, 20th century. It's there.
Yeah.
I think The Matrix, the first one, fits that bill too.
Mm-hmm.
It fits that sort of nascent techno realm we were sort of walking into. Like, I love how the Wachowskis were so ahead of the curve when they said, like, oh, the machines use Americans, use humans to generate electricity. Well, that's fucking stupid. But when you dig into what they really wanted to do originally,
Right.
they were going to use their brains for bandwidth for computer processing. But the average audience would fucking have no clue what
Right
that
over
meant in
top of the head.
1999.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, electricity, and now you look at it like, well, that's fucking lame.
Right.
But they knew about this
But
kind of
we're in-
shit before it was gauche,
Yeah.
But
exactly.
and that's a point that people have used to criticize the movie too. Like fucking internet smartasses who are like, "Oh, yeah,
No.
do you
So
know how
it's like
much
retconning
electricity that a battery or the human body actually? This is just preposterous." And it's like, dude, it's a
Stop
fucking allegory.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's not the point.
Yeah.
It's not about the hard science. science of the thing. It's just a vehicle to explore, as you said, all the philosophical shit. You know, which goes back to the oldest philosophy, the allegory of the cave, which is basically the whole movie is the allegory of the cave,
the realm of the forms
for the for the end of the 20th, beginning of the 21st century.
And I can't tell you how many students are like, the world is a simulation, man. We're not living in reality. And I'm like, dude, Plato did this 1,000 years ago. Stop
That's
it.
right. Shadows on the wall.
You don't even know. But like that, they can bring, the Wachowskis can bring that philosophy into this time is staggering. But that kind of begs the question, like, does this sequel need to be made?
Well, I said we haven't said anything about this new movie.
I'm getting there. I just made that.
Have we been actively avoiding talking about it? Is that the problem?
No, we've just been nerding out about the originals.
Go ahead, set it up. We'll talk about 4.
Did 4 Resurrections need to be made?
No.
Yeah.
End of story. No.
I agree. I when I, you know, and I have much more to say on the film, but like in the final analysis, the most damning thing I can say about this movie, and I want to say straight up that I have many positive things to say about the movie too. I didn't hate it.
But you're going to condemn it right away.
But the most damning thing that I can say about exactly is that when you got to the end, you found yourself going, why? Yeah. What was the point?
I agree with that. I wanted more than what I got with Neo and Trinity flying away. I wanted maybe...
Spoiler alert.
Whatever. It's been a month.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Yeah. Agreed.
You knew I wrote the title on the podcast. Honestly, though, like, you know me. Like, I work with Shaun and Mike, for those of you who don't know. We work in the same building. And the number of times I say, let the wheels...
We're the janitors.
We're the janitors. The numbers of times I say, let the wheels fall off or let the system burn down. Just burn the house down. I wanted to see them remake The Matrix. I wanted to see what they didn't show us.
Right.
How are they going to change it?
Which they almost did.
They came so close.
We'll get to it.
So close. Shaun? Shaun is a hard no.
Well, yeah, I already said no. What's the next question?
All right, fine. Moving on. You know, so I was watching this with my wife, and I found it really startling that, like, the first 30 minutes are super self-referential. You know, like, Neo is a game designer who made the game called The Matrix, and everyone's talking about, like, you know what we need for the next Matrix game? We need bullet time.
Yeah.
And they keep, like, doing the recursion of bullet time. We need the bullet time. Show us the bullet time. What did you think about the self-referential nature of that?
That was the part of the movie I really liked. I felt at first, I was like, oh, this is a great reset.
It's like
the first hour of the film, I loved all the meta shit. Mm-hmm. You know, I thought they were doing, I'm like, how do you, like, because Neo died, I'm like, how do you...
Yeah,
that
how
was
do you
our
bring him back to life?
Right. But I thought they were setting that up in a cool way.
Sure.
You know, I was like, and it also, you know, it was also, you know, I said before about, you know, one of the cool things about the first one was you were trying to figure shit out.
Yeah.
That was not present in the second and third one, but I felt like that was here. Like the first hour of this movie, I'm like, okay, so what's happening? What's going on?
How did Morpheus come back?
I love all that.
He's different.
He's different. He's a reboot.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so I loved all of that. I loved, you know, I've said in a recent podcast of ours that I love storytelling about storytelling. So I loved the metafictional shit that you're talking about. I loved all that. I really felt it was being set up so good.
Yeah.
Then when they got him out and he was in the real world and it was like, okay, so it's like whatever it was, 80 years later and everything. It's like this is going in a really cool place. They did all that to get us into a new place where they can tell a new story with it.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like it just fucking fell apart. The whole thing just became like, oh, now we just got to get Trinity out and some shit about love, and then that was it.
I loved the first half hour of that movie.
Yeah.
I'm like...
It was the more cerebral half.
Exactly. I'm sitting there going, how fucking bold is this? Are they basically going to say that the rest of the Matrix is all, like, just fucking in this schizophrenic's head? Like, this whole thing was just, like, a mind game? And he's, like, this... Like I'm sitting there going, like, what a goddamn ballsy-ass move to make. And it was just Lana Wachowski that did this one, right?
It was not both of the sisters.
Was
You're
it
right.
Lana
it was just Lana.
or just Lana? Okay,
just Lana.
So she makes this movie, which is like, again, basically a fuck you to Warner Brothers. Which I was like, God damn, yes,
yes,
give
this woman all my money.
Exactly. I was like, my wife and I were watching it, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. And she's like, yeah, this is really interesting. And like, does that mean like the rest of the movies don't mean anything? And I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, my mind is melting down. And then it became a perfunctory fucking sequel where they basically just undid all the goodwill that she had built up in that first half hour.
Yeah.
And I walked out, or I watched it to finish it because I'm a goddamn completist. Or else I would have shut it off after like I realized what the hell was going on. I'm like, you know what? Honestly, this was corporate malfeasance.
Right.
At the end.
I kept waiting for the ending to have some sort of thing where I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And that never happened. Like, because when they were like, we got to get Trinity out. And then, like, the bad guy in the movie is like, see, it's just, when you guys are like, when you touch, your love destroys all the machines.
Don't even get me started about Neil Patrick Harris in this goddamn movie.
Every cliche
I was like,
you could
that's
imagine.
stupid. I'm like all of the brilliant philosophy in your movies, and you're telling me this one's just about, like, love conquers all? Like, I'm
love
like,
is all
so
you need.
I kept, I know. Yeah. Like, come on,
that was
people now.
ostensibly the point of the original movie too, is that her love for him
in a much deeper, profound way, in a saving the world way. In this one, it was just like, we got to get Trinity out, and Trinity, like,
but they're gonna paint the sky with rainbows, man.
Right? Oh my god! And
I know.
In the part where
I'm gonna try to save it in a sec.
Even the part where she like turns to like the person that she has thought for 50 years. How old is the character supposed to be? That's supposed to be her husband. And she's like, you keep your fucking hands off of me. And it's like,
my name is Trinity. Don't like, you fucking
maybe that looks powerful on the screen, but I don't buy that. I'm like, that's not good writing.
It was, God, I don't even know how to put this, but it was like, everything you could have done wrong, they did it. In that, like, second 2/3, like, the second and third act was just...
I think it was less than that. Like, honestly, I think it was the last hour.
It was the last hour.
Like, I just feel like it was so good for so long, and then it just fell off a cliff.
I have to disagree. As soon as they pulled Neo out of the Matrix again, I felt like you just fucking ruined your chance.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity there to completely upend and say, damn the fucking purists who are all like, oh, well, sorry, but like, oh, the Matrix and all this... No, if you would have made this all like some guy's fever dream or something, like you would have done something profoundly different. You would have re-upped the Matrix itself. Yeah. But it became this, hand wave. We rebuilt their bodies because we needed them. And, hand wave. This guy can like project himself into the real world with like a bunch of magnetic marbles or whatever. And like all this stupid shit that like was pointless. It had absolutely 0 point other than to look cool. And that was it.
But I was on board for all of that. Like, I was on board for it being 80 years later and there being some new battle to fight.
I don't think it was 80. I think it was like 60.
60.
Jada
Pinkett was
20. Jada Pinkett Smith has got to be like 85. You know, when she's the general.
But whatever it was, I was on board for all of that. I thought all of that was a great way to, like, set up, like, a new Matrix story and a new battle and everything. But it was the choice of battle. That's where they lost me. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, the Matrix was always about, like... You know, it was so many things, but it was about like your understanding of the world that you live in, and it was about independence, and it was about identity, and it was about so many different things. And then this one just became about like, you know, we got to get Trinity out because I love her. And that was it. That was literally it. Yeah. The whole battle and all the like the cool action shit that happens is literally just like, we got to get Trinity out. And then they try to save it a little bit at the end by having them like show up and vaguely threaten Neil Patrick Harris with like, you don't understand, this is our world and we're gonna do whatever the fuck. But it's like, but that hasn't been what the last hour of the movie's about. You know, and it's to me that's where it lost me. That's where it became very disappointing.
I'm gonna move away from the new criticism for a quick second and extend the analysis outside of the text for a sec. So fuck Neil Patrick Harris in this movie. First of all, I'm gonna move away from that in a sec. I like him as an actor. I like him as a human being. Seems like a great person. Your character sucked, bro. Yeah. Your acting was like How I Met Your Mother in the fucking Matrix. Get the fuck out of here. You're not Agent Smith. You're not some good analyst,
me.
I'm mostly finished with my beer currently. your character was out of place.
Yeah.
Your accent, your intonation, your physical mannerisms did not fit anything. It's not even like I expected you to be Smith, which is a different character, and I'll talk about the resurrection of Smith in a second. That was really intriguing to me. But you felt so out of place in your goddamn Trinity garage bullet time scene that you ruined the movie for me. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Speaking of out of place, why is the fucking Merovingian there? And he's some crazy old French dude.
I can get to that. I'll get to that in a second.
Please.
I'm getting there.
Preach, brother.
Roundabout getting to this. So, the Wachowski sisters use the Matrix as an allegory for being trapped in bodies in a system that they did not feel they were suited for.
Granted.
And so, when I saw this Matrix 4, I was really thinking about, like, how does that lived experience translate as a director into the film? And I saw them trying to say, like, we'll never change the construct of the system, but we can change what the system creates. You'll never change the Matrix, like the fact that the Matrix exists and that robots are controlling our bodies, but we can fight back. And in fact, we win over some robots, right? We win over some converts to say that, transhumans deserve rights. Trans people deserve rights. They deserve love. They deserve to be who they want to be because that's who they are. Now, that's as far as I can get in the story, right? So, like, as I'm looking at this, Neo and Trinity won't end the Matrix, which is what I hoped for. We all hope for ending the robots, destroying the robots, ending the war, winning back Earth, and terraforming Earth again with those crazy cool cloud skies that they talk about in Io. But what we get is a system that is a compromise. And while I don't like that compromise, I think that's Lana Wachowski agreeing or understanding that they have to carve out their own niche in the world. And that Neo and Trinity cannot end the Matrix, but they have to carve out the niche in the Matrix that they exist in. As the analyst says, like, the sheeple are going to stay. Because there are so many sheeple.
Right.
But some people who want out are going to be out. And they're going to be the way that they want to live.
Right.
Because of Neo and Trinity and because of Lana. And forgive me, I forget Lana's sister's name now. And so, like, I saw that allegory knowing the outside circumstances of the movie, thinking, like, yeah, that's friggin' great.
Right.
Good. I was let down by the action. I was let down by, as we said, the last 40 minutes. I rewatched the last 40 minutes for the second time today.
Yeah.
And I get it that Neo and Trinity are older, so Neo and Trinity are going to fight differently.
Thanks, Lily.
Lily
is the younger sister.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Lily. Lily was not involved in the writing of this or directing of it. And so I felt like the special effects maybe were just so jaded. Maybe I'm just so jaded with special effects at this point because of the original groundbreaking that, like, Neo and Trinity's fighting styles and the special effects didn't create something new. But I did like the fact that some robots broke away and came to our side.
Right.
Which seems like a good allegory for some closed-minded individuals come over and see that
progress is
who you are is who you
incremental.
are. Yeah. Who you love is who you love.
I think you guys are reading way too deep into this fucking thing.
Fuck.
The Matrix.
No, I'm just kidding.
The Matrix.
I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's fine. I've used it too many times.
It was just a great action flick, man. Where were the samurai swords in this one? That's what I want to know.
There were no samurai swords, but there were, very reminiscent of Dragon Ball Z, Neo using his ki to put, chi, to push away all the bots that fall down on them while they're racing on their motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
So I dug that for like 3 minutes. Because that's all he has. He does not have real action anymore. He's got, I'm a shield, I'm going to shield Trinity. Right. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything you're saying is, I think you went way deeper on this film than I did. And I mean that as a compliment.
Because I loved this franchise.
I think that, like for me, I think that all the stuff that happened in the original movie, and I think for the most part in the original trilogy, it had some philosophical explanation for it.
Sure.
Whereas, like here, like the whole thing about where like Neo and Trinity are reaching for each other's hands.
Don't let them touch!
Exactly, and Neil Patrick Harris like, don't let them touch. Like,
not a fan.
There's nothing there's nothing philosophical behind that. It literally is just like love conquers all, which is a fucking Disney movie premise. And I don't come to the Matrix for that shit.
I agree.
Go back to what I said a minute ago. The first half hour is Lana Wachowski basically having her way with what HBO or Warner Brothers wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is basically saying like, oh, you paid me. Okay, here's what you wanted.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a throwaway story. It adds nothing to the mythology. It adds nothing to the... And it's... Again, they had done that whole meta, like, fiction, like, that whole...
And
really,
Smith being the director of the game company and a totally different character.
Such good setup.
Such interesting work there that was just pissed away on a Hollywood blockbuster ending. Yeah, and absolutely. I feel like it was... You can try to make more out of it, and I know that, I did it myself. I did it myself.
Because we want to.
Yes. But I had to, like, stop myself and go, like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
That fucking piece of shit sucked.
Yeah.
The first half hour brought me to this, like, moment of, like, oh my God, I can't believe they're tearing down the house, and this is incredible. This is guts. This is real pioneering filmmaking again. This is tearing down your sandbox and then reconstructing it however you want. That was remaking the Matrix the way you want it to be. That was the metaphor you described earlier about being a trans person locked in this world that is not your world.
Right.
But then it was just like, no, I can't do it or else I won't get paid.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I said when we did a podcast months ago on Star Wars, I said that for me, when I watch the end of Return of the Jedi, in my mind, it still ends there. Everything that, and now I'm willing to, sense that I'm willing to bring in Mandalorian and everything, but not, all the New Order shit, like all that episode 7, 8, and 9 does not exist in my mind. It ends there. It's because, not because I don't want the story to continue, but because the story that continued was awful.
7, 8, 9 is fanfic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, like, with the Matrix, like in my view, Matrix 4 is so inessential that if I were to now go back again and rewatch the first three, it would still end at 3. It would still end when the Oracle and what's his fucking white beard dude, like, have that conversation.
The
architect. And, to me, it still ends there. Matrix 4 is, like, a curiosity. It's, as you said, fan fiction, but it's not canon in my mind.
In my mind, The Matrix ends at the end of the first movie.
Also a good point. I do like Matrix 2.
Despite my love of Monica Bellucci. And that insanely good highway scene and how awesome that is.
That is great, too.
Truly.
And I honestly, can I say this? This might be a controversial take, but I like...
Say whatever.
I like the architect. He's often mocked,
Sure.
People like make fun of his ridiculous vocabulary.
He's the God character who is like...
I like the architect. Yeah. I like the way it's acted. I like the vocabulary, all that ergo, stuff. Yeah. Like
vis-a-vis.
I enjoy that as someone who enjoys the English language, and who enjoys philosophical discussion.
Sure.
I like the architect.
There are some good parts of the sequel for sure, the second one. But honestly, if we were to do this mental exercise, take the last 3 movies and completely eliminate them from your thoughts. Even the video game, even the anime tie-in, all of it. Get rid of all of the ancillaries. And just look at the first as a complete and self-contained whole. And that is the strongest thing.
Yeah.
It holds the most.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
An ending... Now, I haven't always been a fan of... Neo flying away into the atmosphere, but ending on Rage Against the Machine.
The rage
has always been a high point for me.
Yeah,
agreed.
I'm gonna bring it down to some maybe less philosophical points for a sec.
All right,
we're gonna bring it to the lightning round.
All
right, gentlemen, Trinity or Naomi at their high points.
What are we choosing?
Just pick one. Who do you like better, Trinity or Naomi? Looks, appearance,
Trinity,
bedside manner. You pick.
Trinity as a character, as a person. Naomi, I think, in terms of straight aesthetics,
Okay, you like the red leather coat better.
and the fancy braids and all that shit. It's pretty cool.
Some fucking braids.
I do agree with his take. Yeah, that's the right take.
You can't agree. How am I supposed to award a point?
Ah, shit. Well, he had
This
it first.
is a competition. All right, Mike gets the point.
Yes, I'm winning.
There you go.
I'm winning.
What is the connection between the directors and one of the larger central ideas of the Matrix franchise? First one to ring and answer correctly gets the point. Do it, Mike.
Is this the same point that we've been making?
We've already made it. I was just.
okay.
Oh man, that was
yeah, Mike's gonna win. 'Cause it's
I am building an insurmountable lead here, man. 2-0. I've never been up by this much.
Well, that's why. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Don't fuck it up.
Just make it.
The transgender shit.
Yeah, right. So being trapped in a system that you can't overcome, and you feel not correct in your body, so you need to be liberated.
That is exactly what I was.
Hold on, I have an alternative take.
Fuck your alternative take. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's the achievement of the perfect form. It's the Buddhist 12 noble paths, or whatever that fucking thing is.
You can't. It's the sixfold path.
Whatever.
You doubled the path.
Well, I mean,
Buddha would not be happy with making it twice as long.
He's trying to get double the points because he's losing so bad.
Buddhism.
I'll give you half a bell.
All right. So it's 2 to 1/2.
2 to 1/2. All right. Last question.
Still a game.
Price is Right style. How much money has the Matrix series grossed so far as of 2021?
I'm going to have to go with $1 billion.
Oh, and he did not use his pinky to the corner of his mouth because those movies have fucking aged.
Yeah, fuck that.
Go ahead, Mike. So he said 1 billion.
I'm going to go with 999. $999,999,999.99.
I thought you were going to understand.
I'm not sure you understand how Price is Right works, buddy.
I mean, if this were Price is Right, you both lose because you both went over.
Oh.
But Mike is closer.
Yes!
But he went over.
Yes!
I mean, he's already ahead, so this point doesn't matter.
No, I think that means that we both lose.
Sure.
Oh, can you let me have this, man?
Mike wins.
All right, fine.
466.6 million.
Wow.
Now
this is a landmark moment in the history of our podcast. The first time.
It is indeed.
It's a new rivalry. It's Mahomes-Allen.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Good point.
Yeah, 466.6 million as of 2020.
That seems so low.
It does seem low.
Is that adjusted dollars for inflation?
It is not adjusted for inflation, so 20
Look at Shaun
whatever
trying to
dollars.
save this.
Sure, yeah, fine. I'll do the adjustment.
I still lose. It doesn't matter.
You're like Tom Brady and the Bills. We win one once in a while, but like you're so far ahead, man. Let me have this.
Just freaking give it to him. All right. So, gentlemen, I think I get the sense, but I'm gonna say, watch it to be completist.
Yeah.
Mike says yes. Sean says no.
I say absolutely not.
No.
Don't subscribe to HBO just for this, guys.
Buy the DVD and save it.
Don't even buy the DVD.
I'm going to agree with Adam and say it's worth watching.
Sure.
If you're a fan of The Matrix, it's worth watching. I'm going to say the first hour, I think, was really good. It was making me feel really, really good watching it. I just think when it starts to fall apart, I just think it does it very quickly, and it's a shame. And at the end, you find yourself asking, what was the point of this?
Literally, when you see the Merovingian, that's when you can stop watching.
This is you know what? That's probably correct.
Yeah. They pull Neo out. He's looking for Trinity. Just believe he finds Trinity.
Yeah.
End of series. For sure. Yep. All right. Well, that was a letdown. That's what she says every Friday.
Oh.
And I'm never a huge fan of the Matrix. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, the bar and how high it was set for this movie is nearly unfair to Lana Wachowski.
It is. There's a reason why Lily wanted nothing to do with it.
Oh, for sure. Like, and to go forward with it was novel and intriguing. And there were so many things that I really did like the inclusion of bots as opposed to agents. That was intriguing because we're plagued by bots on the internet nowadays. So that's really, something I found funny. The scary use of bots as bombs and self-driving, like people driving cars to drive into other human beings, which is something we literally experience in real life.
Yep.
I see as like an interesting connection to real life. Like that's fine.
Just a lot of missed opportunities.
For sure.
I'm gonna add a further thing to my answer here. If you don't feel like watching a movie that you feel like, you know, we've just described so negatively, watch a different Wachowski movie. V for Vendetta would also be in my top 10 of all time. I fucking love that movie.
Hugo
that is a great
Weaving
one.
fucking crushed
And
that
genius.
role.
He's wearing a mask the whole time, and
Never
yet he's
seen him
a
act.
brilliant character.
Should we do a V cast maybe sometime?
Oh,
We could
I
do
would
a
love
V-
that.
Oh,
I
we'll
would have
crush that.
much to say about that.
Stay
movie.
tuned for our upcoming V for Vendetta cast sometime in the next 10 years.
Not next, for sure. You know, we're changing things up here at Nerds of the Old Republic, and we're going 2 for the price of 1. We're going to go bi-weekly as opposed to monthly. So, pay attention
Pressure's
to...
on.
Yeah, the pressure is on, man, because our next cast is going to be Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. That's Mike's pick again. He's been crushing the picks lately. We've been really enjoying and having a lot to talk about here, so I appreciate
Yeah, I think
that.
he's the official pickmeister.
Yeah, he's the Schedule Meister picker.
Yeah.
I accept that title. I like that
There
title.
you go. 5 drinks in and I can't even say that. But you know what? We would appreciate it if you found us on the socials at Nerds of Old Republic. Twitter, Instagram, Good Pods, Goodreads, Facebook, all that good stuff. Find us, connect with us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you next time. Stay nerdy.